Alright, 6 disturbing unsolved cases with video footage by Sirius. Never seen this channel, so looking forward to it.
11. 6-year-old Timothy Pitson left his school in Aurora, Illinois with his mother, Amy. Amy had shown up at the school unexpectedly, telling the staff that there was a family emergency. Timothy's teachers were caught off guard, as something seemed to be severely off with Amy, but they let Timothy go with his mother, figuring everything was going to be okay. These are some of the most disturbing unsolved cases with video footage. As they drove
Okay, I like the lead up. I don't feel like it's AI yet.
away from the school, Timothy was excited. He loved spending time with his mother, and they were heading out on what seemed like a special adventure. Amy took him to a zoo, then a water park. It felt like a mini holiday.
Oh, what a fun day. Did you get taken out of school
To have some fun
early?
together, just the two of them. They checked into hotels along the way, and at each stop, Amy made sure they had fun. Still, to Timothy, it was probably just an exciting trip with his mum. But there were signs that things weren't as simple as they seemed. Amy wasn't just taking a break, she was avoiding contact with Timothy's dad and other family members. She would call them every now and again, always sounding upbeat, but she never let Timothy talk to anyone. She'd say, "He's fine, he's having fun," but never gave him the phone. When she called her husband, she told him not to worry and that they were fine, in a very cheerful tone. But
Dude, this looks so old and I've never heard about this. Did she hide him, bro?
still,
It says you'll never find him, his mother.
the phone calls left the family uneasy. Why wouldn't she let Timothy speak? The two kept moving from place to place. They stayed in a couple different hotels, moving further and further away from home. Amy was seen on hotel security cameras, and people who saw them said that Timothy looked happy, completely unaware that anything was about to happen. At one point, Amy visited a hardware store where she bought
Well, why are you checking into a hotel? I mean, that's a little bit weird. Like adding on to a whole trip like this.
a few items that didn't seem to fit with a road trip. She purchased small things like a notebook and a pen. Things that just felt out of place. Amy seemed to be stalling, like she was trying to gain time, though no one knew for what. The choices she made only added to the mystery. Every call to her family sounded upbeat, yet the details made them anxious. Why did she seem so cheerful but refused to explain what she was doing or let Timothy talk? Amy also checked into a hotel without Timothy.
Bro, she kind of got them crazy eyes, though. She kind of looks like she would go off the rails a little bit, the type to put the cinder block on the gas pedal.
A strange move that raised even more questions. Why would she go to a hotel by herself when Timothy was still with her? And where did she leave the 6-year-old? These unexplained decisions kept building up, leaving her family more worried with each passing day. When Amy made her last call to her mother-in-law, she sounded calm. She told her that everything was going smoothly and she shouldn't worry about anything. But this time, her mother-in-law pressed her, asking directly to speak with Timothy. Though once again, Amy refused. This time, her excuse was simple. He's busy playing. Her voice was light-hearted, but there was something strange about her tone, as if she was masking something deeper. On the 14th of May 2011, Amy checked into a motel in Rockford, Illinois. By then, she and Timothy had been on the road for 3 days. That evening, Amy was spotted on security
Bro, what do you mean this is unsolved, though? Like, clearly she's up to something.
cameras one last time, and she entered her room alone. Timothy was nowhere to be seen. The next day, motel staff found Amy dead in her room as she had ended her own life. It was a devastating discovery, but the shock didn't end there. Next to Amy's body, police found a note she had written. A message that only deepened the mystery. In her handwriting, Amy explained that Timothy was safe, but added something.
What? Some people leave notes and some don't. I couldn't decide. So this is my version. Tim is somewhere safe with people who love him and who will take care of him. You'll never find him. That is crazy. That's a crazy thing to say. Oh, what up, Ninja? That's what I'm talking about. Dude, whoever finds me, sorry about the mess. Dude, that's so gross to write about your own death.
Haunting. You will never find him. But there was something else in the note that left Timothy's family and investigators terrified. Amy also wrote, "Timothy is safe with people who will care for him."
Oh, that just sounds like some cope stuff, like some kind of religious cope. I think that means she did something to him.
This message seemed to suggest that she had left Timothy with someone she trusted, someone who could take care of him. But who were these people? And did they even exist?
She
The
talking
note
about
left
like
Timothy's
God.
family in disbelief. Amy had assured everyone that they were fine, but now she was gone and Timothy was nowhere to be found. As the police combed through her car, they discovered traces of blood on the seat. they immediately tested it, and it was confirmed to be Timothy's. This finding raised new fears and
then
new
this isn't
questions, as
Unsolved.
everyone was wondering what had really happened to Timothy. Was he in danger, or had he somehow been left in a safe place as Amy claimed? Investigators were caught between two possibilities. Either Amy had hidden him somewhere to protect him, or something much darker had occurred.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Right after Amy's death, police launched an
That's something
extensive
darker,
search
clearly.
for Timothy. They retraced every step of her journey, hoping to uncover any clue that might lead them to him. Authorities examined maps, reviewed Amy's GPS records, and revisited every hotel and location she and Timothy had visited during those final days together. And they pored over surveillance footage, hoping to spot a moment, a clue, anything that could reveal where Amy had taken Timothy. As the search continued, investigators found more strange details. Amy's car showed signs that it had been through dirt roads and grassy areas. It was clear that she had probably been in remote locations,
Bro, that's what I'm
likely
saying.
far away from any city.
Her whole behavior is weird. Why the
or
hell are we
town,
like...
But where exactly? Search teams combed through forests, parks, and even isolated areas that matched the clues left by the dirt and plants found on her car. Yet despite these massive efforts, Timothy was nowhere to be seen. Meanwhile, the story of Timothy's disappearance began to spread across the country. News stations picked up the story, broadcasting pictures of Timothy with his bright smile and innocent eyes. His face appeared everywhere, on television, in newspapers, and on missing person posters. The
Bro, I've never heard of this case, though.
public was captivated by the mystery, and as more details emerged about Amy's final days, people began forming their own theories. Timothy's father, Jim Pitson, became the face of the family's
Oh, dude, that's gonna be rough for him. He's just never gonna know what happened to the kid.
heartbreak and hope. Appearing on news interviews, he spoke openly about the pain of
Hope.
losing Amy and the agony of not knowing where his son was. Though he still believed, as Amy's note had said, that Timothy truly was safe somewhere. The general reaction to the case was mixed. Some people sympathized with Jim and clung on to the idea that Timothy was still alive, somewhere out there. They rallied for his return, joining search parties, volunteering, and spreading Timothy's story online. Others, however, began to question Amy's actions and whether her words in the note could be
What do you mean began to Bro, it was weird since the beginning. Why the hell are y'all not questioning that?
trusted. They speculated that her final message was meant
the
to
fuck is
mislead,
that?
and some even believed that Timothy might never be found because he was no longer alive. Then, in 2019, 8 years after Timothy's disappearance,
Oh,
the
shit.
case took a very unexpected twist. A young man appeared claiming to be Timothy Pitson, saying he had finally
Oh, no, I heard about that, though.
escaped his captors after years of being
That's
held
not
against
him,
his
it's just
will.
some other
For a
kid.
brief moment, hope flooded back. Jim and his family were overwhelmed with emotion, believing that Timothy might be finally returning home. But that hope was crushed just as quickly as it appeared, as DNA tests revealed that the young man was not
Yeah, bro, what is they're gonna do tests on you to make sure.
Timothy. He was in fact someone else entirely, a random, troubled person looking for a way out of their own life. Despite the disappointment, Timothy's case remains active.
Dude, how hurtful for the dad, bro. For them to, like, call you in and shit. You got, like, false hope. Oh, my God.
Alive.
You can't give up hope. As soon as you give up hope, then what should I do? What, declare him dead? He's probably in the middle of nowhere, being homeschooled someplace, just away from the media and TVs and new technology.
Damn, bro. I kind of feel like that's cope, but, what else can you do? That's more healthy than just sulking, I guess. As long as he's not, like, lying to himself. But damn. That was just sad, dude. Oof, that one's very sad.
Normal time
She did something, bro. She obviously, I would have ended off thinking she took him out, but he's safe in heaven.
to be up and ready. She was dedicated to her fitness classes, regularly teaching early morning sessions. She had a class scheduled.
Oof, hold up. Let me go back. I wasn't locked in for that.
Still dark in Midlothian, Texas on the morning of the 18th of April 2016. For 45-year-old Terry Missy Bevers, a fitness instructor and mother of 3, this was a normal time to be up and ready.
That
She was
name's
dedicated to
familiar.
her fitness classes, regularly teaching early morning sessions. She had a class scheduled at Creekside Church of Christ that day, and she was known for showing up early to set everything up. Around 4:20 a.m., Missy entered the church. Her headlights breezed briefly illuminating the parking lot before going dark. With her workout equipment and supplies in hand, she made her way inside, likely unaware of the danger that
Oh, damn, she just get up that early? 4:20 in the morning to work out?
awaited her.
At the
What she
church?
didn't know was that someone had already broken in. Hours before Missy arrived, Creekside Church had been empty, but by 3:50 a.m., a figure had appeared inside.
Oh, yeah, I saw this. This was in a recent video. Okay, I'm probably gonna skip it then. It was a whole video on that. I remember this guy walking through, banging the doors around. Damn, okay. Maybe I should have checked that out. Okay. And that name sounded too familiar. I knew right away.
Alyssa Turney was a typical 17-year-old high school junior living in Phoenix, Arizona, with her father, Michael Turney, and half-sister Sarah. Like most teenagers, she had a part-time job, friends, and dreams for the future. But on the 17th of May 2001, everything changed. That was the day Alyssa vanished without a trace, and the mystery of her disappearance
These are so
would
old, some really old videos. Why is it? I mean, it's a year ago.
leave her family and community searching for answers for years to come. It was the last day of school, and Alyssa was looking forward to summer break. She and her friends had made plans to celebrate, and it seemed like a typical start to what should have been a carefree summer. But what happened that afternoon has been clouded by strange details, some coming from her father Michael himself, who was the last person to ever see her. According to Michael, he picked up
Michael got some weird vibes on
Alyssa
him
from
right off the
Paradise
bat.
Valley High School around lunchtime. He claimed that they went out for a bite to eat at a local restaurant, and then, once they returned home, they had a heated argument. Michael would later tell the police that Alyssa stormed off, shouting that she was leaving and heading to California to live with her biological aunt. To back this story, Michael claimed he found a note from Alyssa in her room, saying basically
He claimed a lot here.
exactly what she was saying in the argument, that she was running away.
Sarah said you didn't want me around. Look, you got it. I'm gone. Nah, that sounds like some old dude trying to act like a teenager. That's why I saved my money. Dad, I took $300 from you. Nah.
No, written in Alyssa's handwriting didn't sit right with Alyssa's friends and family. For
Yeah, even with me, I don't even know the girl.
one, none of her belongings, like her phone or purse, were missing. If Alyssa truly intended to run away, why would she leave behind everything she'd need? And why didn't she tell any of her close friends
just
about
check her
plans?
handwriting.
Initially, authorities treated Alyssa as a runaway, believing that she might have truly gone to California or was still somewhere nearby in the Phoenix area. However, doubts started to arise when the $1,800 in her bank account was left completely untouched, and she failed to contact any of her friends and family. As police started to
Bro, these are supposed to be unsolved. All of these are like pretty clear cut. Like, what we're gonna say they never figured this out?
investigate further, they discovered something odd. Michael had been tracking Alyssa's movements in ways that went beyond what many see as protective. In fact, he seemed to have an unusual level of control over her life.
Telling
At
you,
her
bro.
job,
Right off bat, I said he's got a weird
Alyssa's
vibe.
co-workers noticed Michael would occasionally appear unannounced, sometimes with a video camera. In one instance, he secretly recorded his daughter's interactions with customers, co-workers, and friends.
Oh no, that's creepy. She went out there to confront him?
Claiming it was to ensure her safety, but there was no clear reason why he would have to monitor her like this.
Nah, that is super creepy. To like in person film you at work, I would be creeped out. Dude, it's him. What the
Making her feel uncomfortable and trapped. They reported that Alyssa felt she couldn't do anything without her father knowing, and over time, she grew increasingly resentful of his intense surveillance. For any teenager, this level of control would have felt
Yeah, bro, obviously. I mean, they had a heated argument just before. What the are we talking about?
direct and honest approach. She very openly talked about her suspicions of Michael, as well as her struggle to keep the case alive. Sarah wasn't afraid in the slightest to speak out against her own stepdad, publicly declaring that she believed he was responsible for Alyssa's disappearance. Her boldness was both risky and shocking, but it was effective on TikTok as viewers
Bro, then what are we talking about, dude? Then it's solved, no?
admired her courage to speak out, even when it meant accusing a family member. After years of uncertainty and years of advocacy from Sarah, the investigation into Alyssa's disappearance took a significant turn. In August 2020, nearly 2 decades after Alyssa was last seen, police arrested her stepfather,
Oh, well,
Michael
Jesus
Turney,
Christ.
charging him with
Bro, that long after?
second-degree murder. Investigators pieced together patterns of Michael's controlling behavior, leading to the decision to formally reopen the case and charge him. The second-degree murder charge against Michael Turney indicated that the authorities
Okay. It's great coverage of the story, bro, but this says unsolved. So I'm really starting to feel like this is just like a slop video. Every one of these has been like very clearly obvious. This one was solved 100%. Like, what are we talking about?
a Caribbean cruise, warm beaches, and the endless blue of the open sea. Amy Lynn Bradley, a 23-year-old recent college graduate from Virginia, was thrilled about the trip. Traveling with her family, she boarded the Royal Caribbean.
Ugh, I don't know about cruises, dude. They're just not for me. I mean, everyone's just super drunk and belligerent, and it's so packed. There's no, I would hate that.
Cruise ship Rhapsody of the Seas on March 21st, 1998.
And you gotta pay for that experience.
Amy was excited, but also a little bit nervous. Friends and family said she wasn't exactly the cruise type. Amy was athletic, outgoing, and independent, but she had a fear of open water, which made the cruise ship a bit of a leap outside her comfort zone. The night of March 23rd should have been just like any other night on the cruise ship. The family enjoyed dinner, and Amy later went to a nightclub on the ship with her brother Brad. The siblings had a fun night, dancing and chatting with the other passengers, and in a video taken that night, Amy looked happy and carefree. Around 3:30 a.m., Brad left the club to go to bed, and Amy told him she'd be right behind him. This was the last confirmed sighting of Amy by her family. Early next 30 a.m.
Eventually solved, but shh. They have an asterisk and then the description. Just, bro, I gotta check, because, like, what the I'm a little upset about that. I'm not gonna lie.
Amy's father, Ron Bradley, woke up in their shared cabin. He noticed that Amy wasn't in her bed, which immediately set off the alarms in his head. It was strange for Amy to be up that early,
But then they would just sue the crew.
especially since they'd been out late the night before. Ron initially assumed she might have gone up to the deck to watch the sunrise, and he figured she'd be back soon. But as the minutes passed and Amy didn't return, Ron's concern grew. He searched around the ship looking for any sign of his daughter, as he checked the common areas, the decks, and even went to the ship's dining area, but there was no trace of Amy.
I mean, would it not be the responsibility of the like, you guys haven't even docked. Like, shouldn't you know who's here?
Increasingly desperate, he woke up the rest of the family. They searched for her together, hoping to find her asleep somewhere else or chatting with a friend, but Amy was nowhere to be found. By 6 a.m., the family reported Amy's disappearance to the ship's crew. At first, the crew didn't seem as worried as the Bradleys were. They suggested that maybe Amy had gone for a swim, fallen asleep somewhere, or even gone ashore on her own during an early port stop. However, Amy's
okay, a little different if you guys made a bunch of stops.
Family knew she wouldn't have just wandered off without telling them. They insisted that something was wrong and pushed for a more thorough search of the ship. The search of the Rhapsody of the Seas was extensive, but it wasn't fast. Crew members scanned every deck, every room, every public area for any sign of Amy. Still, nothing turned up. By midday, the captain made an official announcement, alerting all passengers to Amy's disappearance and asking for any information. But despite everyone's efforts, it was as if she had just vanished into
I feel like you'd have to do that really carefully. You'd cause panic on the and everyone would leave.
thin air. Amy's family then tried to convince the captain to stop the boat until Amy had been found, as if the worst case scenario had happened and she had been kidnapped. She could then be smuggled off the ship when they'd eventually reached the port. The captain ignored their pleas and continued to drive the boat, allowing everyone off the ship. For the Bradley family, the idea that Amy might have gone overboard was unbearable. She was a strong swimmer and wouldn't have been careless around the water. Plus, Amy had left behind her shoes and her identification in her cabin, which raised even more questions. Could she have met someone who persuaded her to leave her cabin, or had she encountered someone with darker intentions?
See, there you go. That's unsolved. Like, I don't know what happened.
Well, Amy's family, desperate for answers, recalled several strange interactions she had with crew members during the trip. A few days before,
that's what I'm saying, bro. Cruise people are weird. People that love to just be stranded on a ship with 500 other people that are drunk. It's like thousands of people, I think. So it's even worse.
Before she vanished, Amy mentioned feeling uncomfortable around some of the crew. According to her family, she felt watched. One particular crew member had approached her several times, showing an unusual amount of interest in her. He reported
I feel like being just I don't know.
to the
Just being a woman anywhere, I feel like is just like scary nowadays because there's so many weird people.
Invited her to go dancing at the club off the ship, which she turned down. Then her family noticed something very worrying. On board the ship, there was an area where photos of passengers were displayed, pictures taken by the ship's photographers, available for families to view and buy. But something was wrong. All the photos featuring Amy had vanished. Her family couldn't help
That's creepy.
but wonder, had someone
Some foul
intentionally
play?
removed her pictures? If so, who would do such a thing and why? And as time passed, some people have claimed to have seen Amy, fueling the theories that she might still be alive. Several witnesses came forward saying that they had seen a woman matching Amy's description in the Caribbean. These sightings included
there could be somebody that looks like her, you know? She don't look that like, man, that just sounds mean. She don't look that like, damn, never mind. Damn.
From a sailor and tourist who saw a woman resembling Amy with men who seemed to control her. In one case, a Canadian tourist reported seeing a woman in a brothel in Barbados. The woman allegedly begged for help, saying she was in fact Amy and was not allowed to leave. These sightings gave Amy's family hope, but all of them led to dead ends when followed up by authorities. No concrete evidence was found, and the woman in the sightings was never confirmed to be Amy. The descriptions were often vague, and some sightings happened in chaotic settings. Still, for the Bradleys, each new sighting brought a glimmer of hope, which is also connected to perhaps the most disturbing theory of all, being that Amy had been abducted and sold into human trafficking. The idea was bolstered years later when a chilling piece of evidence emerged as a photo of a woman resembling Amy was found on an adult website. The woman in the photo had a similar tattoo to Amy, and her appearance is undeniably similar, considering that she would be several years
and you could tell because the life not in the face, you know? She don't even seem like she like happy.
older. Amy's parents saw the photo and were convinced it was her. They believed the image was proof that Amy was alive.
Dude, that's the worst thing, bro. I feel like the cruise actually seems like a place where they would plan to do that because you can kind of stop in random places and you're like off grid while you're on the cruise.
Trapped in a terrifying situation from which she couldn't escape. Investigators found evidence of human trafficking rings operating within the Caribbean, and a young woman like Amy, traveling alone at night on the ship, could have been a target. Her family began to suspect that if someone had lured her, they might have forced her off the ship in one of the island ports and into a dock.
You never know. It could have been anything. Like somebody could have like abducted her and killed her and threw her overboard. Like you really wouldn't
network. Either way, until this day, Amy Lynn Bradley is still missing 26 years later. Kenny Beach was no ordinary.
Bro, when did they like declare them like no longer, you know, alive? Like, isn't there a point in time where they do that?
Hiker. Kenny was the kind of person who thrived on adventure. He had been hiking for years, tackling some of the hardest trails in the southwest United States. Friends described him as fearless and intensely curious, which perhaps is what eventually led to his unfortunate end. He documented one of his hikes on YouTube, where he'd gained a small viewer base and talked about some of his findings in the endless stretches of the Mojave Desert. There were abandoned mines, strange caves, and even government training grounds all around the place. Kenny's viewers became captivated by his discoveries, eagerly awaiting another upload.
I don't know, dude. I was in Boy Scouts for the longest time. We would do camping trips every week. And it was cool to see all the stuff, but I just don't get the drive those people have to like explore.
Kenny, their excitement seemed to fuel his own. Despite the dangers, Kenny found a sense of freedom in these remote places, but he also knew the risks. A simple slip on a rock, a broken bone, or getting lost without cell reception could mean dangerous. Life or death. Yet Kenny believed the rewards were worth the risk. Kenny once shared that he had a habit of exploring alone, even when people
a fucking snake, dude. There's no, I would never.
Warned him against it. Hiking alone in a desert like the Mojave was not something that most would consider, but Kenny saw it differently. He believed that hiking alone sharpened his senses, and it forced him to be more aware of his surroundings. Without the distractions of company, he could listen to the desert and focus on the details he might otherwise overlook. His viewers, and also he probably knew, that each time he went out there alone, he was taking a chance. But it was a chance he seemed willing to take again and again. But there was one discovery that would change everything. It wasn't
a bit of an adrenaline junkie almost. Like it's more of like a thrill thing than like a explore.
Just another rocky canyon or long abandoned mine. It was something different.
and I'm looking for a cave that I found, and I didn't have a sidearm when I was here before, and something about that cave just spooked me. Out of all the caves I've ever gone in, this one just made my body vibrate. The closer I got to it, the crazier my body felt, and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna go in there right now, but I'm coming back someday. So hopefully.
Man, this guy seems fun though, you know? This is the type we gotta get a beer with. Have a lot of stories.
Help find it. It's shaped like a big M. It's a big cave that looks just like a gigantic M, and it's about as tall as I am and kind of narrow, and it's stuck on the side of a mountain. So I hope I can find it again.
His viewers began to speculate about what
Oh,
might
you know
have
this
caused
one?
such a strange reaction.
I've
Some
never
thought
heard
it
of
was
this.
natural, maybe an odd geological feature, or maybe a minor earthquake. And obviously others immediately believed there was something more mysterious at play, like secret military experiments or something supernatural.
Never
Kenny
mind.
read through
Oh,
all
wait.
the comments, and it was clear that the mystery of the M-shaped cave had captured the minds of many. People were sending him messages, pushing him to return to the desert and explore the cave. It wasn't like him just to back down from a challenge, and the encouragement from his viewers made it harder for him to ignore the mystery. But he was also cautious. He knew that returning to such a remote location was risky, especially with the strange sensation he had felt. Was it really worth the danger? Despite the fear of the
Funny
unknown,
obvious
Kenny
conclusion.
decided he couldn't let this mystery go. He wanted answers just as much as his audience did, maybe even more. And soon, he announced his plans to go back, determined to find out once and for all what was
This is that cave? Why would
inside
you...
that cave. Kenny prepared carefully for this trip, aware of the dangers that awaited him in the desert. Even for an experienced hiker like him, the Mojave held countless risks. This wasn't just a quick day hike. The remote location of the cave meant that he'd have to navigate miles of rugged terrain with limited supplies and no phone reception. In case anything went wrong,
Bro, if he just hurts himself, that'll be the dumbest shit ever.
Kenny let his girlfriend and a few close friends know where he'd be heading. This way they'd have an idea of his location if he didn't come back.
Well,
Then,
that's good.
days passed, and no one heard from Kenny. At first, his friends and family assumed he was still exploring, caught up in the thrill of adventure. But as more time went by, their worry grew. Kenny's girlfriend reported him missing, and a search operation was
After
launched
how long?
as teams of rescue workers scoured the Mojave Desert, covering every trail and checking every canyon. They looked for signs of his presence, hoping to find any clue about where he
Just the odds of that. Like, he just told you where he was going.
might have gone. During the search, they discovered Kenny's phone lying on the ground near an abandoned mine shaft. This was miles from any marked trail and deep within the desert. The phone had no interesting messages, no final recordings, no indication of what might have happened
Did
to
he
him. It
fall
was as
in?
if he had left it on purpose or had dropped it by accident before going further into the wilderness. I mean, why would he leave it behind? Despite extensive search efforts, no other trace of Kenny was ever found. The team searched for weeks, covering the surrounding area and examining any possible routes he might have taken. But the desert is vast, and its rocky,
Yeah, bro,
uneven
there's no way
terrain
you're gonna
makes it
narrow it
difficult to
down.
find someone, especially in the remote areas where Kenny was known to explore. With no further evidence and no sign of Kenny, the search was eventually called
that's
off,
it?
leaving his friends, family, and YouTube viewers with more questions than answers. The M-shaped cave quickly became the focal point of every theory as to what might have happened, as
Oh,
the
it's in
cave
Vegas.
itself was never located either. People have found caves that could be the M-shaped one, but nothing solid, and no one has ever experienced the same intense vibrations Kenny did. The mystery surrounding Kenny has built up a sort of community of amateur investigators and internet detectives. One of them
Oh my god, I think I know what that case you're talking about is, actually. Dude, I need to do a whole thing on, like, the bad police operators, because that shit is so infuriating when they just, like, don't take the job. I don't know if it's because they just do it so much, and they're just, like, tired of the job, but they really don't take any compassion in any of the calls. They don't, it sounds like they don't give a fuck.
many theories involves Kenny's sister Debbie Veach. Now Debbie runs a little Reiki studio and shop, and in 2018 it was burgled. A man unidentified broke in through a glass window with a
Whoa.
crowbar, stealing an iPad and other small items. Many people who like investigating the mystery of Kenny are absolutely convinced that this was him based off of the security
What? Why the what?
footage. Debbie has never even implied it's Kenny, but still, people are clearly desperate to find out what happened to him. To
Why would you think, bro, he looks like an average ass dude too. Like, he's gonna look like this dude. Dude, Sahara and Jones is like city. That is like rural. Like, this is not anywhere near here.
To this day, Kenny's case remains unsolved.
Oh my God, that's it? There's no way. He had to have fallen down. Like dropped his phone while he was like, I don't know, his phone, was it dead? Okay, that one's unsolved, bro. Wow. That was actually really good. I enjoyed that one. There's a little less info on it, but it was still interesting.
Was only 8 years old when she disappeared from Washington, D.C., leaving a trail of unanswered questions and unsettling mysteries behind. Born on October 29, 2005, Relisha lived a far from easy life.
I've definitely not heard of this one.
Relisha's family struggled financially, and she spent most of her early years moving between unstable housing situations. Relisha and her family eventually found a place to stay at a shelter known as the General Family Shelter. While it provided a roof over their heads, it was a difficult environment for any child. The shelter housed hundreds of families and individuals experiencing homelessness, and the facility was crowded and sometimes chaotic. For Relisha, the shelter was both her home and her playground, though it was far from the safe, nurturing environment that every child deserves. Despite these hardships, Relisha's teachers and people who knew her described her as friendly and full of curiosity. They noted how she loved school and seemed to be happy there, finding some sense of stability and normalcy in the classroom. Her teacher noticed, though, that her attendance was irregular. Days turned into weeks, and when Relisha stopped coming to school altogether, people started to worry. At first, no one knew what to think.
I mean, she's like a child. Shouldn't we be asking the parents what's going on?
Absence was unusual, but not completely shocking. Living in the shelter meant that her life was unpredictable, and unfortunately, it wasn't uncommon for children in similar situations to miss days.
No, dude. I mean, of course she hated the shelter. Like, what? It's not like anywhere somebody wants to be. It's like a last resort thing.
Days of school. School officials made phone calls and reached out to her family when her mother, Shamika Young, was contacted. She claimed that Relisha...
Wait, how do we not know where they were at? Like, you should still know where they're at. Like, you're there with them. You guys aren't separated, right?
She was in the care of a doctor and was being treated for a health issue. She even provided the name of the doctor, Dr. Tatum. Relieved, the school trusted Shamika's explanation and didn't press her any further. They had no reason to doubt her words, but this decision would soon reveal its terrifying consequences. It was the 1st of March 2014 when the authorities were finally contacted. School officials decided to look into Relisha's absence once more and discovered something that made them uneasy. The Dr. Tatum that Relisha's mother had referred to wasn't a doctor at all. He was Khalil Tatum, a janitor at the shelter where Relisha's...
He was a janitor? How did you convince them that you're a doctor?
...family lived. The unexpected twist raised alarm bells for everyone involved. Though Khalil...
What do you even mean? That you guys just like you were being supervised by some doctor that was actually a janitor? Like, what the f***? Bro, that's like some parenting problem there. You guys made a weird decision.
Wasn't just a stranger to Relisha's family.
It's not her fault. She's a kid.
He was someone who had developed a close, almost unsettling relationship with her. Shelter staff and other families noticed how Tatum spent time with Relisha, buying her gifts, taking her on outings, and providing her with things that perhaps her family couldn't afford. People close to the family obviously saw these gestures as unusual, but no one could have guessed what would come next. Tatum had an extensive criminal history that included burglary and larceny. He was hired despite concerns raised by some about the shelter's lack of proper background checks. The shelter's staffing shortage and high demand for support made it difficult to screen employees thoroughly. Tatum's
Wait, do they still get sued for that though? I mean, you guys did employ them.
role brought him into frequent contact with Relisha and her family, and he gradually became a trusted figure in their lives. Relisha's mother, Shamika, accepted these gestures, even allowing Relisha to spend unsupervised time with them.
Shamika, man, we gotta do a little bit more vetting. Like, what?
Once police began investigating, they uncovered disturbing details about Tatum's behavior. Surveillance footage later revealed that Tatum had taken Relisha to a Holiday Inn Express in Northeast Washington on March 1st, making it the last known sighting of the young girl. Tatum's actions following that day became even more suspicious. He was spotted purchasing a shovel, lime, a chemical that can be used to stop the smell of a rotting corpse, cups, as well as large trash bags, items that suggested he might have intended to cover up a crime. Then, something very unexpected happened.
That's pretty clear cut.
As the investigation intensified, authorities discovered that Khalil Tatum's wife, Andrea, was found dead in a hotel room from a gunshot wound. This development only deepened the urgency of the search for Relisha, and
Bro, I mean, this is not unsolved.
it became clear that Dr. Tatum was even more dangerous than the police thought. Law enforcement began a nationwide search for Tatum. Meanwhile, the behavior of Relisha's mother, Shamika, was starting to make less and less sense. When the school first notified Shamika that Relisha wasn't attending anymore, Shamika did not immediately notify the police or the shelter staff. A
Oh, she had to be like, oh, that's gross.
delay that severely impacted the investigation, and
She was in
Shamika's
on
general response was slow and at times evasive. When asked by the police and child welfare authorities about her daughter's last known whereabouts, she provided limited information, and her answers often lacked urgency. It could be possible that Shamika might have feared getting into trouble herself.
Nah, bro, nah. She was in on it, and she was probably getting some kind of like money or something for it. That's nasty.
She was aware of Tatum's involvement with her daughter and the potential legal implications of neglect. Authorities investigating the case became increasingly frustrated with Shamika's lack of cooperation. Although she eventually acknowledged that Tatum had been taking care of Relisha, she continued to give inconsistent statements about why she allowed her daughter to spend so much time with
It
him.
just doesn't
Her
make sense.
explanations were often contradictory, shifting between trusting Tatum as a caring figure and being unaware of the danger her daughter faced. Shamika's behavior either suggested a stupidly high level of trust in a stranger or a complete failure to recognize the risks associated with allowing her daughter to be in Tatum's care.
Nah, bro, she doesn't just not understand the bro, there's no way you don't know this guy's a convict. Like, he's not a doctor. I mean, it's very clear when somebody's a doctor, you're like, oh no, there's no one that's gonna be like, oh, he's a doctor too. There's no way. Not for a doctor. Bro, that also was not unsolved. That was 100% solved. I think there was 2 of these that were theoretically unsolved. So, I don't know if I'll be coming back to this channel, but good video.